Getting deported was probably one of the best things that's ever happened in my life. And I say probably maybe because somewhere along my story, I did do prison time in the Southern California system, amongst other things that happened in my life that are part of the best things that's ever happened to me. And I'm making this video for my son Lorenzo, who's only 2 years old right now, and for that younger version of myself, that 16-year-old sitting in a dark room, depressed, getting high and drunk, just hating life and hating himself. Because if that kid could have heard some of what I'm about to share today, maybe things would have panned out a little differently. So I crossed the Mexican-American border in Tijuana when I was 4 years old. And that wasn't my choice, obviously. I was just a kid. It was my parents' choice. They were just doing what they needed to do in order to get out of this country, which at the time was very dangerous. And that was 1985. It got even worse in the 90s. So I've never blamed them for that or anything. I probably would have done the same thing, being a 25-year-old growing up in Colombia and seeking a better life, right? So as I grew up thinking I was American, even though in the back of my mind I always knew that I was illegal and that I didn't belong there. And even though I did face discrimination every now and then there in Southern California, I never felt completely out of place. So yeah, I didn't choose to be raised in the United States, but as I grew up, I did make my own choices, and a lot of those were bad. So even though sometimes you don't choose things to happen to you, you do get to choose how you react to them. So when I was 15 years old, I started to drink and dabble with using drugs to the point where it started to affect my mental health. I was depressed a lot of the time. I loathed myself. It even got to the point where I tried to end it all overdosing on methamphetamine. That didn't work. So at 19, I was basically full-blown into drugs and alcohol and sales. And at 22, I got stopped by the police for a broken taillight. That led to a search. They found what I had, and I spent over a year in the Southern California corrections system. But what I learned at that time was that failure and success are not a destination. They're the consequence of habits and decisions. Some of us have great habits and make good decisions. Some of us learn the hard way and have bad habits and make bad decisions and find failure. And at 22, I definitely felt like a failure. If you know anything about the Southern California system, you know that it's ran by the Sureños, which are the 18th Street gang, the Mexican mafia, and then you throw in there the blacks with their Crips and Bloods and other gangs. And then you throw the Peckerwoods up in there with their neo-Nazis and white supremacy people. And you've got a pressure cooker that explodes every now and then. And I was there for a few of those explosions. When I first got there, I actually had a friend in there. I ran with the Barrio Viejo Clica. He was a Sureño, and he kind of showed me the ropes. One of the things that he told me before we were gonna have kind of like a cell block fight because we were at war with, oh, by the way, I was never gang affiliated, but when you're locked up, everyone's gang affiliated because it's the only way to survive. We were about to go to war that evening after chow in our 120-man cell block. Victor, I'll always remember what he said. You know, he said, a lot of these guys out here, they talk a big talk. When it comes down to it, watch tonight, many of them won't do anything because it's not about what you say you're gonna do, but what you do. And I laughed because it was funny. He said the word do, but it's always stuck with me. It's not about saying things that you're gonna do. It's about saying things that you're gonna do and then actually doing them. And that's one of the things that I've held closely since I was 22. Anytime I say that I'm gonna do something, I do it. Not only talk the talk, but I walk the walk. So that was around 2004. Did my time, led a good life, did my probationary time with no incidences, started a couple businesses that failed, of course, as all good entrepreneurs do. Fast forward to 2010, where I rolled a stop sign coming home from work at 10 o'clock at night. I was driving on an expired license, so I got a ticket for that as well. I went to court. The judge said that I owed about $4,000. I didn't have that amount of money, so I asked for any other options. She said there was payment options. I said, cool. She said there's another option where if I went to the local jail for a weekend, I would be released on Sunday. All of my fines would be cleared. So I said, that sounds good to me. I went in on a Friday, Sunday came around, and we got a call from ICE police. I didn't know what ICE police was back then, and I realized that it was immigration police. They asked for my papers or a birth certificate. They actually asked for a birth certificate because they talked to me and they presumed that I was American, but I wasn't. That weekend stint in the local Huntington Beach jail turned into a couple months of being detained in federal prisons across the nation, starting in Los Angeles to Arizona to Texas, finally to Louisiana, where I boarded a plane with a bunch of other Colombians that were being deported. People that had served like 10, 15 years in prison were up in there as well. So being detained in those federal prisons was easier than my time when I was 22 years old, but you were still in there with some crazy ass people. So I landed in Bogota, Colombia with nothing at 28 years old, and I was starting over again. And it didn't hit me as hard. A lot of people would think like, wow, that must have been like a crazy experience, but no, I had a crazier experience when I was 22 in the Southern California corrections facilities, man. That was way harder than being deported. At least I was free here. I had a weight lifted from my shoulders. My threshold of pain was much higher than that because of what I went through when I was 22 years old. So I got a job here. I started off at call centers, and then I taught English here. I got certified as a teacher. That was the other thing that I regretted not doing when I was younger, is getting an education. I barely graduated high school, did community college for like 2 semesters, but I've always been self-taught, everything that I learned. So I got certified. I learned how to make websites using HTML and some CSS and using WordPress. I learned digital marketing on my own, search engine optimization, and I started a company. By the time I was 36 years old, basically 8 years later after being deported, my company was making $120,000 a month. How did I get there? Well, it was a lot of work. Basically, I knew that my threshold of pain was about 2 years because I did time for about 2 years when I was 22 years old. And I said, if I could do that and not go crazy, I can do anything in the free world. And that's what I did. I put my head down for 2 years, didn't even go out, didn't party, didn't date. Again, threshold of pain was higher. Built the digital marketing business, hired local people, employees. We worked for clients in the United States, home run after home run with clients, and we got paid out really well every single month, to the point where we were able to buy, me and my business partner, we were able to buy 5 apartments out here. We sold 3 of them. I kept 2 of them, which I still have on Airbnb. And even though we were doing that, I still lived below my means. It's something that I've always done. I was still roommating, and my life was really good at the time. A lot of work, but it was really great. But here's the lesson, Lorenzo and young Andrew, is that when you make money, you put it into an appreciating asset. Doesn't mean that you go buy fancy cars. It doesn't mean you go buy a house and live in it, because then it doesn't become an asset, it becomes a liability. But this whole starting over thing, it's the pattern that I want to show you. Everything in life is kind of, that cycle. For example, 2 years ago, Lorenzo, you were born, and I started from scratch, started over as a new dad. Didn't know what the hell to do because I was a new dad, and I still don't know what the hell I'm doing, but I'm learning. I started the MedellinMasterclass.com, our relocation service, where we've helped over 70 people over the last 2 years relocate to Medellin. We hold their hand through it, and I didn't know what I was doing when I started, but we started with 5 people. They loved it, and we created a whole business around that. From that business, some of those masterclass members wanted to buy a property. I bought property on my own here, so I started to help them, and I became a broker, and we started MedellinLivingRealEstate.com, again, from scratch. I started this YouTube channel from scratch. I was very apprehensive because I don't like the way I look on camera or sound on camera, or I didn't. I had to get over that, got over it, and now the channel is succeeding. Everything is a cycle. Now I've become a developer. We're building a 10-story building in Laureles, a luxury residential building. I've never even worked in construction. Never mind, when I got out of prison, a friend of mine gave me a job at his construction company. I went one day and quit. I'm like, working with my hands isn't for me. So I definitely respect all of you guys that work with your body, because that ain't for me. So where's the lesson in all of this, Lorenzo and Andrew? It's you start something and then you become an expert at it. And that's what I've done my whole life. So when we learned that Lorenzo was coming, obviously I told my parents, They decided to sell everything in Southern California after living there for 40 years to come and live here. So I helped relocate them and I've helped retire them. Well, they're semi-retired. My mom helps with Lorenzo. My dad helps with our property management company called 5-Star Hosts. Well, actually, he runs it with Manuela. But the whole point is that many people chase building something for themselves. But when you are building something that is bigger than yourself, it's really hard to give up that way. For me, it was never about me. It still isn't about me. Definitely not about me now that I have Lorenzo, but as I was building out here, I wanted to do something for my parents, and now I'm doing it. That's been the biggest reward of all. Not the time freedom, not being able to do this on any random day. I mean, I think today's Saturday. But even though the goal was great and awesome, it's the journey that I fell in love with. It's funny how far you will walk when you fall in love with walking, as opposed to just loving the end of the journey or the end of the walk. So that's the story. Illegal immigrant at 4 years old, started doing drugs and alcohol at 15, locked up at 22 years old, deported at 28 years old. It's a cycle of starting over again. And if that younger version of myself or my son ever watches this, the main message is that I go into things not knowing what's gonna happen in the future, but I'm confident because I know where I've been. I know my past. I know myself. I love you both, and I'll see you in the next video.